Hello, welcome to the Slow to Learn training video. In this video, we will look at an overview of assistive technologies for print disabilities. A print disability is a relatively new term that combines together a number of difficulties that people may have when accessing printed text. And when we say printed, we really mean printed on paper or printed on screen. It has been defined as a visual, cognitive, or physical disability that hinders the ability to read print. And that may be a visual impairment, for example, people who are blind or partially sighted. It could be dyslexia, or a physical disability that makes handling of physical printed text difficult. The solution to print disability is to have a text that is accessible. And accessible text means one of several things. It's a text that is structured so that it's easy to navigate, and that applies both to Word documents and PDFs. It must be easy to modify the font color, the font type, the font size, and the background color, again, both in PDFs and Word documents. It must be possible to deliver it in a different mode, for example in audio, and that could either be an audio book that is narrated by a person or an audio version of the text that is created by a synthetic voice using text-to-speech. And also it can be very useful if the text and audio are linked together so that as the reader is listening to the audio, they can also follow on the screen line by line or even word by word. And for that, the solution is either something like a Word plugin called Wordtalk or a Daisy plugin or the Daisy format. Let's have a look in a bit more detail at all of these solutions. So first, a structured document is a document where all the titles of sections have been marked with styles that are called headings. All word processors have heading styles, and it takes really only very little effort to make sure that a document is structured. A structure should be present in all Word documents, and we should make sure that PDFs have structures using bookmarks, and also all web pages should have structures using headings. In fact, the document that I'm using to present this information is just a structured Word document, and you can see that it is easy for me to navigate from section to section without painfully scrolling. Next, accessible text should be easy to modify in terms of the font color and font size, and you should be able to change not just the font color but also the background color. This is easy to do both in Word and Acrobat Reader for PDFs. Another solution is to present the text in a different mode, for example, audiobooks. Audiobooks are books that are narrated by a person, and there is a lot of evidence that audiobooks contribute to increased literacy. In one research project, boys who were using audiobooks still on tape, because the research is quite old, reported that audio reading was very enjoyable. And the researchers found that the quantity of errors when the boys were reading independently was also markedly reduced. And the boys found it very easy to listen to audiobooks, and additionally they were happy that they could read books that are appropriate to their age and even access hard words just like their peers. The researcher on this project, Byram, has presented an interesting metaphor, saying that, well, we don't question whether children might need spectacles to enable them to read a book, so there should really be no difference between that and an audio. That's just like the audio is just like spectacles for the children. Audiobooks are very good, but they're not always available. They are quite time-consuming and expensive to produce. So the next solution is text-to-speech. And text-to-speech is getting much better, and to produce audio using text-to-speech we need a combination of a synthetic voice, such as the one that comes with Windows from Microsoft, Anna, or one you can purchase, for example, from a company like Ivona. Brian is a voice, for example, that I particularly like. And once you have a synthetic voice, you also need some reader software such as Balabolka or Wordtalk that will take the text and create an audio version of it. There is plenty of evidence that text-to-speech works. It takes a bit of time perhaps to getting used to the slight differences in the synthetic voice from a natural voice, but in a project that tried using synthetic voice instead of a scribe or a reader during examinations in Scotland, the staff who were present were really happy with the independence this provided, but the students also preferred text-to-speech to a scribe and found it much easier to use. And even more surprisingly, or perhaps not surprisingly, the mean score of their achievements was higher with text-to-speech than it was with a scribe. For readers with dyslexia, text-to-speech can relieve the burden of decoding so that the reader doesn't have to struggle with the words, but they can just focus on the text and the comprehension. In one study, the students could even double or triple the time that they could keep reading. So they could read more than they normally would. The next step in audio text is linking the audio and text. This is particularly easily achieved using DAISY, which is a special format that keeps the document structure but also syncs the audio with the text. So you can read the text while it is being read out by either a narrator or a synthetic voice. And the research that has been done confirms that highlighting text as it is spoken helps learners pay attention and also helps them remember more. In some countries such as Denmark, DAISY is used by many people with dyslexia, and some research has reported, similar to what we heard earlier, that many people regard the computer as their equivalent to the spectacles for the weak-sighted. This is what highlighting text and listening to it feels like. I simply choose a bit of text to be read out. I'm using software called Wordtalk.
DAISY is used by people with dyslexia in Denmark and other countries.
And this section was read out by Wordtalk, which is a free plugin for Microsoft Word, and using the Brian synthetic voice from a company called Ivona. Thank you for listening. You can find more information in some of our related videos. We have videos on creating structured documents in different software. We have videos on changing the size of text and listening to audiobooks, again using different software. We have some videos about text-to-speech, and there are also some videos about the DAISY format.